Okay, so some friends asked what we pack for a trip like this. You know, we've been gone, or we'll be gone for a month and a half by the time we get back. We're at our last leg. So I thought I'd go ahead and show what my bags look like when we get on a plane and unpack everything to show how we did it. So, bag on the left is what I carry on, and then that's usually what I take when we're hiking, or we're going exploring for the whole day. I didn't wear it skiing or anything like that, but I will unpack that one. And then the other is the bag that I check, and basically has all of my clothes, all of Amos's clothes, my winter stuff, rain gear, and then also all the toiletries for the whole family. Okay, so like I said, all my stuff is in here except the clothes that I literally wore on the plane. So I just have one pair of shoes, my hiking shoes, and then pants, sweatshirt, t-shirt on. And then I'll also take my windbreaker on the plane. Last minute as we left Valle Nevado, I put my winter coat in the bag. It's not needed here, quite warm. We're like in the 80s in the middle of the day. And then I have 3 bags of dirty laundry that I'll need to get washed here. All the ski socks I put in this other pocket because they were a little rank. So that's all the laundry that we have for while we were at Valle Nevado for 4 days, and then when we were in the Atacama Desert for another few days before that. So that's probably about a week's worth of laundry, maybe a little bit more. And then only other stuff I have in here are just feminine products. Then this is when we get to all the stuff that we pack. So we put everything in these mesh laundry bags because they keep it separate, but also don't trap any air, and you can see through them, which is super handy. So I always have 3 sets of what I call toiletry bags. And again, this is to last us the whole month and a half. This first one right here is basically our prescription bag. So I did get prescriptions for travelers' diarrhea just to have as a backup, because if somebody's really not feeling good, you don't want to have to find a doctor when you're in a more remote location. If we were in Santiago, that would have been no problem. Lima, even Cusco. But some of the places we were going were a little off the beaten path, and it was just not a complication I wanted to deal with. Then we also have Dramamine in here. At one point I had all of my Excedrin, Tylenol, but most of that's in my carry-on bag now. I have some more intense first aid supplies in here. A tick removal kit, because we just always take that with us, especially after having a major tick incident in Scotland. And then lots of sunscreen. We have right now 4 stick sunscreen. That was what I brought with us because it'll do better with the altitude changes than if we had a spray or the lotion. Then this middle bag right here is everything we need if somebody's going to shower. So I came with 2 full bars of soap. I have Q-tips. I have different kinds of shampoo and conditioner. And then I also have a spray bottle of leave-in conditioner that Louisa and I use. And then this last one over here is what would be like my everyday stuff. So it has the toothbrushes, toothpaste. I have some extra face masks in there. I have face wipes, a couple different kinds, because that's just a lot easier to do, especially if you're somewhere where there's a limited amount of water. And then face lotion and sunscreen. Overall, this has worked out really well for us. There have only been 4 things that I've needed to purchase. Okay, so here are the only things that I've had to purchase the entire trip. I brought 2 things of Secret deodorant for myself. It's like the little travel size. that was not enough. So at the airport, I had to pick up this lady speed stick, which will definitely get me through the rest of the trip. I think if I had 2 that were this size to begin with, I would have been fine. Then after Amos took a dip in Lake Titicaca, his shoes were rank. Like, I had dried them as best I could. It was still a little bit cooler during the day, and so it took a little bit of time, and they had some smell to them. So then I washed them with soap and water and dried them, and I was like stuffing them with paper towel and taking that out as soon as they got wet just to try and dry it from the inside. And by that point we were in Cusco, and I was able to set them out in the sun, and they still had a smell. And the first time that he wore them hiking, it was just disgusting. And I happened to see this stuff right here when we were at the airport going from Cusco back to Lima, and was like, I will try anything. So I got it. It's, I think it's just supposed to be powder that goes right on your feet, but I put it in his shoes and spread it, like shook it all around in there and let it sit overnight, and then dumped out all of the extra, and it worked really, really well. I was ecstatic. And so I've done that a few times in his shoes just to continue to try and get rid of that lingering odor. But overall, he's in good shape now. So this was definitely a good purchase. And then one thing I didn't really think through was how much lotion I would need. I just have one really small travel lotion that I keep in my carry-on bag. But in the mountains, it's a lot drier. And my skin is just not made for that. And so I also got these 2 lotions at the airport, which have been lifesavers. So now that we are up on the coast by the ocean, there's definitely a lot more humidity in the air, but for a lot of our trip, aside from when we were in Lima, it's been pretty dry. All in all, I think we did a pretty good job with our preparation. Definitely have had more supplies than we needed, especially when it came to the sunscreen and the shampoo, because there was shampoo available at some of the places we were at. But all in all, it's worked out really well. Okay, so coming back to everything that's packed in the bag, have socks and underwear and ski goggles for myself, then socks and underwear for Amos, those are literally all of the clothes that I brought for myself. It's a larger bag folded in half. Then these are all of Amos's clothes there. And then the rest of the stuff that I have in here, all the ski goggles for the younger kids, hats, gloves, and one more bag with hats and gloves in it. And then if you can kind of see at this point, the bag is pretty much empty. The only thing at the bottom are my snow pants and rain gear. Snow pants, and then rain gear. So at this point my bag is totally empty except the very top pocket on this flip side is like a bonus pocket. And I shoved in Luisa's toothbrush and toothpaste here at the last minute, another dirty shirt, and then we have a tapestry that we got on Lake Titicaca that's in a bag, ready to get hung when we get home. So this right here is one big overview of all the stuff that we brought that I shoved in my bag. Luisa carries all of her own clothes and her rain jacket, but her winter stuff went in Solomon's bag. Ellis carries all of his stuff on his back, but he checks his whole bag. And then Luke has all of his stuff, his work stuff, for working remotely a few weeks while we were gone. And then he takes Amos's snow stuff in his bag. And then Solomon has all of his stuff, plus Luisa's snow gear that I mentioned, in a bag that he checks, and then he also has a carry-on backpack. Okay, so this is literally everything that I had packed for myself to wear on the trip, and the same criteria that all the kids followed as well when they were packing. So like I said, I have a bag of underwear and socks, and then my ski goggles are in here. Then in my clothing bag, we all packed 2 long sleeve underlayers, basically. One of mine is made of wool, and then the other is like a quick drying one. 5 t-shirts, although I think I cheated twice in my packing. I have an extra t-shirt for myself that I'm currently wearing, whereas I told the kids they all had to pack 5. And then I packed 2 pairs of pants. So the kids all hike in true hiking pants, except Ellis, actually. He doesn't really like the hiking pants, the ones that are have the removable shorts on them. So he had 2 lighter weight pants that he wore for hiking. But I brought 2 pairs of those black, basically workout stretchy pants, because I hike in those. And then I have just 1 extra pair of like lightweight, quick dry jogger pants that I brought as well. But all the other kids started out the trip with just 2 pairs of pants, and then 2 pairs of shorts. And the only location that we're going to be using them at is where we currently are, in northern Peru on the beach, because we finally gotten up into the 80s. But for most of the trip we were in pants. And then we all have 1 fleece that we brought that we wear as a layer with hiking or when we're a little bit cold, pair of pajamas, and then swimsuit with a swim shirt. And that's really gotten us through all month and a half. For each of the kids, I did buy 1 pair of sweatpants for each of them at an Adidas store that we ran into, because when we were in Santiago and we didn't have real heat inside the house, it was a little bit cooler even when we were inside, and I thought it'd be worth it for them just to have 1 pair of cozy pants to knock around in, and then something that they'll still use when we get back home. But all in all, our packing was a success. So if you're comfortable reusing clothes and finding laundry options when you come across them, you really don't need to pack that much, and this made it really doable to do this trip. Okay, now for my carry-on or my everyday bag. Here's pretty much what I have in it the whole trip. I have actually Luisa's water bottle on the side, because when we were on the plane, and all her clothes are in her backpack, it's pretty full and the water bottle keeps falling out, so have that for her. Then if I open up and go to the big pocket, I have my own water bottle that I then share with Amos or whoever else needs it. And then when I'm in the airport, I get one of the ones that has that squeezy top on it, because it's really nice for when we're brushing our teeth to get out just a little bit of water and not waste like half the bottle just brushing your teeth, because the kids are over pouring with the regular top. Okay, next up, I have my windbreaker. I often have Amos's windbreaker as well, but once I knew when we were coming to the warmer climate, his windbreaker was packed in my bag with the rain gear. Then I have another layer for Amos. Again, I always make sure that there's room at the top of my bag so that I can have especially Amos's layers and gear. I have charger with the adapter. Thanks to Luke, who brought all the adapters for everybody. Then there is a series of plastic bags and paper bags in here for people that get car sick. And what I like to do is if we come across somewhere like Starbucks at the airport gave you a paper bag, I hang on to it, and then I put the plastic bag on the inside of that, so that when someone's not feeling good, the bag is actually open and ready to go when they need it. And then we just take these with us literally every time we are in the car. So here's everything else that was in the main pocket. I have a couple things that are actually in the water bladder portion of my backpack. Nail file, in case somebody rips the edge of their nail, and it's easy to kind of just make it so that won't snag. I carry my 2 combs in there, face wipes, disinfectant wipes, and some Kleenex. And then sometimes I'll keep the kids' journals and art stuff in there as well. Then I always carry my deodorant with me. So this is what I showed earlier with the toiletries, and Motrin, etc. And there's more in the other pocket. And then I have like a little mini first aid kit that I always take. So this was super helpful when we were in Machu Picchu and Louisa tripped. You can clean stuff, bandage it, tape it, make it secure, and then keep going without losing a beat. There's always a ton of candy in my bag, which is helpful when we're hiking, and people need a little bit of shot of energy or some motivation, a little reward. And the chocolate in particular was nice when we were at the higher altitudes. Then I have a couple of these IKEA bags that are really great because they stuff in my bag well, they're super small, but then it gives us an extra bag if we need it. So for example, with skiing, when we needed to return all of our ski equipment, we had to have shoes to wear out. So I was able to take everybody's shoes in those bags to the mountain that morning, put them in a locker, and then when we turned in all of our rental gear, we were able just to grab our shoes from the locker. And it wasn't like people had to ski in with their shoes over their shoulder or anything like that. They could all go start skiing and I could just take care of that. So that's pretty much everything in that main pocket of my bag. Like I said, I leave room to be able to take layers, especially for Amos, but occasionally for Louisa or Ellis as well. And we're pretty much in good shape there. And in the middle pocket of my bag, you find, surprise, surprise, more candy. Again, it's just nice to have on the plane especially, but sometimes it's stuff that we collect. Like these were set out at a restaurant that we were at when the bill came, and the kids were all super excited about the lollipops. So when they each took one, it was already after we'd had dessert, so I just put them in my bag. And then it's just a nice to have later if somebody wants a treat. I brought a bunch of containers of Tic Tacs just for myself because I like snacking on those every once in a while. Gum for the plane, and then I have more Tylenol here. Really, we've only used that when we first came and we were at the high altitudes and people had a little bit of a headache in the beginning. I let the older kids, pretty much just Ellis, have Motrin. I had children's Tylenol, which is also in this pocket, that I gave to Louisa and Amos at one point. And then I've taken stuff, but we really haven't had to use that at all. And then in here, this is my quick Band-Aid fix pocket with some Neosporin. Then this is the one lotion that I brought for myself that I mentioned. We have hand sanitizer if it's really needed, although I prefer to wash with soap and water. And then the only makeup I brought literally was this mascara. Then in this very top pocket here, I carry pens because kids like to draw and use in their journal and stuff if they don't want to use the crayons. I've got 1 or 2 lip gloss for myself, but we mostly use chapstick or Burt's Bees. A bunch of hair ties, a ton of all the free earbuds that they give you on a Delta plane from like the last 3 years. And then I think in here I have 1 pair of small toenail clippers too. That's stuck in there somewhere. But that's about it. So really, all this stuff has gotten us through our trip. It helps to pack light and gives you a lot more flexibility in what you can do. And we really wouldn't have been able to fit much more luggage into the rental cars that we've had, except for that very first van out of Cusco. So it's been nice to pack light where we could have everything on our backs or in our hands if we really needed to. But for the most part, fit it into our car and get where we're going.